Hello, and welcome back to Factorio. I am Dorthek, and this is the second episode in the Factorio 0.17 tutorial series. Last time, we built two burner mining drills in order to mine some coal, and we can pick up what they've produced by holding control and left-clicking them or dragging over them. And we've also gotten a single burner mining drill feeding a single stone furnace to generate iron plate. Let's put some more coal into them, and you could do half a stack by control right clicking and the entire stack by control left clicking. So we have one production of iron ore. We're going to need a lot more. In the immediate future, we would like to get 4 of those, 2 of the same setups doing copper, and 1 doing stone. Now, why do we want to do that? The goal of this phase of the game is to get some science research going. This game runs on science, and if you press the T button, you will open the science technology tree. Over here, you can see that the technologies that we have not researched but can are orange or yellow. The technologies we cannot yet research because we don't have prerequisites are in red, and once we've researched some of them, they will be down here in green. So the very first technology we want to research is this one right here, automation. Automation is what is going to allow us to make assembling machines, which are going to be able to build things for us so that we don't have to handcraft everything. Now, in order to build automation, we need 2 things. We need 10 of these red science packs, and we also need some research labs in which to use the science packs. The problem is the research labs require electricity. So before we can do any of that, we have to get electricity started. So that's what we're going to be working towards, and that's going to take a fair amount of materials. So let us start by mining enough stone to make a couple more mining drills, furnaces, that sort of thing. I think let's start with 5. So 5 is enough to make a single stone furnace, which can then be turned into our burner mining drill. And while that's happening, let's also chop down some wood. Wood is chopped down just like mining. You hold the right mouse button over the trees. You have to be pretty close to them. The yellow carrots around them indicate that you're close enough. The red ones say that you're too far. Now, in the beginning, wood is very important. Later on, wood is mostly just a pain in the neck. We're going to use this wood right now to create a wooden chest. And then here on the stone patch, we're just going to drop a mining drill, and we're going to have it output into the chest. And I just realized I did not have any coal on it. So let's go pick up some coal. And let's go pick up whatever iron we have. There's still plenty of coal in both of these, so they're okay for the moment. So let's give this half a stack, and it'll spit out some stone for us so that we don't have to do nearly as much hand mining, but we can help it out and do a little bit by ourselves. We would like to build a bunch more, and that's going to require a fair amount of stone. Now, this chest currently contains stone, but we can't see it without clicking on it. There's a easy way to fix that, though. During the setup, we mentioned Alt mode. If you press the Alt button, or you can click this button here that says Alt, it will show you the contents of the chest as a kind of a ghost on them. I recommend pretty much always playing in Alt mode. It shows you all sorts of useful information, including the fact that we have stone in there. Let's pick up that stone. Let's come over here. How are we doing? Oh, this is full. Why is this not... Oh, did we mine this out? I think we mined that spot out. So let's move them over a little bit. Let's put them, say, here. And what we really want is a few more of these. So if we go over to our production screen, we can see that we have enough to make 4. Now, I would like to make 2 mining drills and 2 stone furnaces so we can set up 2 more pairs. There's an important thing to note here. If I make a single stone furnace and then a single burning mining drill, it's not going to produce another furnace, it's just going to use it. So if we want both, it's important to first queue up the burner mining drills and then the furnaces that we want. So we want 1 more drill and then 2 more furnaces, and we can see in the queue that they'll get made in that order so that we will have both of them available. And we're going to need more coal. We're always going to need more coal as long as we're running around doing this stuff. That's just the way it works. So let's put down another one of these here and one here. Now, to place things, you have a couple of options. You can press E to open your inventory and select it from there, or you can mouse over the same item already on the screen and press the Q button. Q is the eyedropper mode. If you've used Photoshop or graphics tools like it, you know what that is. It basically just selects that item from your inventory if you have one. Now currently we don't have any more in our inventory, so if I was to press Q again, what I would get is a ghost placer. You can see there's a little ghost icon, and if I place it, I don't get the full item, I get its ghost image. Now ghost images are actually very useful for 2 reasons. They can be used for planning, and we will use them a lot for that. And later on when we have robots, they can be used to have a robot put down the item for us, which is quite nice. So, we've got iron, let's go pick up some more coal. How are we doing? We can pick up some more iron plates. Pick up some more stone. It has enough. Let's make a few more mining drills. I think we're gonna make 5 more. Now, left-clicking on this button here would make 1. Right-clicking will make 5. I think if you shift left-click, it will make as many as possible, but we don't want to make that many yet. So the first thing we're going to do with these guys is we're going to take 2 more and add them to this circle. And we're going to take this one here and use the R button to rotate it so it feeds into here. And now instead of 2 of them feeding each other, we've got 4 of them feeding each other. That'll let us get coal faster and bigger amounts every time we come by. Let's see, how are we doing on coal in all of these? They're all looking okay. This could definitely use more materials. And we have 3 more mining drills, but we need 3 more... 1, 2, 3. 3 more stone furnaces to go with them in order to set up these kinds of pairs. So, now that we have them, let's put in 1 more here, and I can use Q on a ghost as well to place it. A little low on coal. Let's go get some more. You can see these 4 are all chugging along, so we can pick up a bunch of coal from them. And let's go over to our copper patch and start some copper. We don't need nearly as much copper as we do iron, but we do need some. So we will do that, and pick up more iron, pick up more coal. You can see why I call this the running around phase, because what we're doing is running around a lot. So recall that the goal of our goal right now is to get electricity so that we can get science going. Now, in Factorio, there are 3 basic ways to get electricity. You can use steam power, you can use solar power, or you could use nuclear power. Of course, in the beginning, we don't have the tech for most of those, so the only thing we can do is make steam power. Steam power requires several things. It requires some boilers to produce steam, it requires some steam engines to use the steam, it requires an offshore pump to move the water into the boilers, and it requires some pipes and some electric poles. So what we're going to do to start with is we're going to make 2 of these boilers, and we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4 steam engines, and we're going to make a single offshore pump, and then we're going to make 1 of these, a couple of those, a couple of those. So that's going to fill up our work queue for quite a while. You can see that there's a lot of ingredients, intermediate products, a lot of iron pipes, a lot of gears, and that's normal, and that's kind of why we don't want to be making them all by hand all the time. We want to automate. Now what I'm going to do here is hold down Shift and right-click, hold down Control and right-click across these to feed them a bunch of coal. It's not going to get it very even, but it's good enough for them. Oops, I think I just took all the coal out of them. Nope. Alright, so let's go make some power. We want to make power on the near the water because we're going to need it for the steam engines. I think we're going to put it right here above this coal patch. So let's head over that way. And coal patch ends here. Let's put it right here. This looks like a good spot. So if we pick up our offshore pump, you'll see we'll get these green boxes because it can only go on the right on the shore and only on a vertical or horizontal portion. So let's put it right here. You can see the little drop that's showing that it's producing water. That's part of alt mode. If I turn off alt mode, that'll go away unless I mouse over it. And the little arrow says that this is where you have to connect the pipe. So we're going to use one of these, what's called pipe to ground, although most of us call them undergrounds or underflows. And we're going to place one right there, and then those arrows will show us that the 2 are connected, the dashed lines. If I move it offside, it won't work, and if I move it too far, it won't work. So right there is the furthest we can put it, and I think that's where it's going to go because we want some space. Now, the next thing we're going to place is a boiler, and the boiler, as you can see, has 3 sets of arrows. These double arrows are labeled with water, and they mean that water can go in or out of this on either side, and this arrow shows that steam comes out of it. And this is very convenient because it means we can take 2 boilers, put them next to each other like so, and the water will just flow right through. And in fact, if we hold the mouse button over it, over on the right bar, we can see that the boiler currently contains 200 water at 15 degrees Celsius temperature, and no steam, and the steam temperature is also 15 C, which is the standard, and that's because they don't have fuel. We'll be back with fuel in just a bit. Now, we're going to take some steam engines and attach them over here. And as you can see, steam engines also have 2 sets of arrows. They're both inputs and outputs, but they're both for steam. And that's so that you can chain steam engines as well. Now, this is just a ratio that you learn, and that's that a single boiler can support 2 steam engines. That's just how it works. And incidentally, a single offshore pump can support 20 boilers, so a standard steam power unit is 20 boilers and 40 steam engines. We don't need anywhere near that much yet, so we're just going to build that. In fact, that's way more than we need right now. Now, the steam engines themselves are blinking that they need power. And they really don't. They're producing power, but they're not connected to an electrical grid. So we're going to take our poles, and we're going to place some right there, right there, right there, and right there. And now they're no longer blinking, and now we have electricity, at least in theory, on these poles. We still have to fuel the boilers. Now, electrical poles have a couple of interesting things to them. You can see that the placed poles have a kind of purple square around them. The unplaced pole has a blue square. That's the area in which they provide electricity or can pick up electricity. So in order for something to be powered, it has to be touching, overlapping those squares at least a little bit. The second thing you need to know is that there's a maximum distance between the poles. So right there you can see that there's a copper wire between the two of them. If I move it a little bit further, there is not. So anything more than that, the poles will not connect. That's the furthest I can go. The last interesting thing is that if you place your power pole over an existing one and hold the left mouse button down, and then kind of run with it, it'll automatically place them at the extreme range, unless there are things over here that need power. And then it'll place them at the longest range that still powers every device. Very handy. Let's go get some more coal and to power this, and check on our production to make sure everything still has coal. And in fact, it looks like it doesn't. Let's give it some more. This does not need that much. This needs more. It's more. This one's fine. Let's pick up the iron plates. Let's pick up the copper plates. This definitely needs more. This needs more. That needs more. That needs more. And the stone one is somewhat less important right now, but we still want to keep it powered and pick it up. Now, we've got electricity, we've got power. Great. The next thing we want is science labs. Now, right now we're going to build 2 of them, just to... because that's all we really need. And we also need 10 of these red science packs. So I'm going to right-click it twice to produce 10. And if you watch the queue, you can see that it's pretty slow going. Alright, now that we have some coal, let's go power up our steam engines. Now, you can see that they've started generating steam and started consuming the coal, but they actually only will do that until these steam engines are completely full of steam. You can see they have 200 each now, and then they stop, and they stop consuming coal. The reason they stop is there's no load on it. We're not doing anything with the electricity. So as long as there's no load, there's no reason for it to consume coal. As soon as we put a load on it, it will start consuming. So, we built our 2 electric labs, and we're going to place them... I want to place them a certain distance apart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the shift button, and shift button puts us into ghost placement mode. It means we're going to place a ghost image rather than a real one. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want exactly 3 spaces between them, and it so happens that the lab is 3 spaces wide. So now I'm going to right-click this one to cancel it, because I don't actually want that. I want a 3-space gap, and we'll see why in a second. And now we can place our labs into those spots. Oh, I'm in the way. You can't place it if you're standing there. And we've built our science packs. So we're going to put half the science in one lab and the rest of the science in the other lab. And you can see immediately, because we're in alt mode, that it shows us which packs are in there. And now we're going to press T and start our research. We're going to start researching automation. Now, if you turn off alt mode, you can see that the labs look kind of cool as they're working. And we can also see that the steam engines have come to life. We're now consuming very slowly coal, and the steam engines are producing. Now, they're not producing much because these 2 labs don't use a lot of power. If you left-click on any power pole, you can get the electric network information. Now, by default, it shows you what's been happening for the last 5 seconds. You can take that to the last minute, 10 minutes, 1 hour, etc. Usually 1 minute or 10 minutes is pretty good. 5 seconds tends to fluctuate too rapidly. But the important thing here is there's these two bars, satisfaction and production. So we have a satisfaction of 120 kilowatts and the bar is completely full. What that means is that we are satisfying all of the available demand. Well, now the demand is at 0 because we've just used that up. If we look at the 10-minute time frame, you can see it where it was at its peak. And production was also showing 120 kilowatts, but it was way down here. And it's way down here because we can produce much more. So we have plenty of power. Now, we've researched automation. The first couple of technologies really are done in a particular order. You always want automation first. Your second technology should pretty much always be either military or logistics, and then the third one is going to be whichever of those you did not pick. The reason for that is these are the technologies that get you the most immediate benefit, and you decide based on whether you think you have a problem with aliens. So if we bring up our map by pressing the M button, we can see that there's no aliens in range that of our sight. We know there's some out there, but there's not that many. And our pollution cloud, which is this red area, is reaching to the edge. Maybe it's going a little bit past, but it's probably not yet hitting alien. You can turn that on and off, by the way, by pressing this button here. See pollution or not. So I don't think aliens are a huge problem yet. So I'm going to select logistics, and then we will do military. Now logistics requires 20 science packs, and this little 15 seconds here says that it's going to take the labs 15 seconds to process each of these science packs, which means if you only had one lab, it would take 300 seconds. Since we have two labs, it's going to take 150 seconds. So let us make 20 more red science pack, 5, 10, 15, 20. And while they're making, let's go get some, pick up some more stuff. As you can see, science packs are quite slow to produce. And generally in this game, anything that you're making more than one or two of, and anything that is slow to produce, you usually want to automate. The sooner the better. So the very first thing we're going to automate is the production of red science packs. Convenient, huh? All right. And let us go and put the rest of the coal. Well, we can pick up a little bit more coal as we run by, because why not? And then we can go put some more into the boilers. And they can only hold 50 each, so that's what it is. Alright, well, we don't have all 20 of our science packs, but we can still get it working. So we'll put half of what we have, because it takes time. And if you look up here, you can see the green bar slowly creeping across as we're getting more and more done. If we look at our electric network info again, we can see that we're satisfying all of the demand, but we're only using a tiny bit of our production capacity. Oh, so that's nice. Okay, now that we have made enough the science, the next thing we're going to do is make some of these assembling machines. We will start by making 2 of those. And we're also going to make some of these inserters. Now we have 3 kinds of inserters available. We have burner inserters, which require fuel. We have regular inserters, which run on electricity. And we have long-handed inserters, which reach further. What we want right now is a bunch of the regular inserters. So I'm going to make like 10. Alright. And we also want a wooden box. So, before I was putting the red science packs half in one, half in the other. That's okay, but that can be very annoying to do in the long run. So what we will do is we will, once this is done building, is we will take our box and we will place it right there. And then we will take an inserter and place it right here. Now an inserter is a device that moves stuff from one location to the other. And as long as you're mousing over the inserter, you can see that it has a bar on one side, on the right now, and an arrow on the left. That indicates the direction of its use. It picks up where the bar is, it drops off where the arrow is. You can use R to rotate it and point it any which way you want, so we're going to place one here and one there. And I just realized I placed them in the wrong spot, which is fine. We can pick them right up with the right mouse button, and the reason is they need to be powered. We've put them outside power range. Yep, and I placed this incorrect. We're going to place that, move that to right over there. So, there's the box. There's one inserter. There's the other inserter. And what this means is that we can now drop our science packs into this box, and it'll automatically spread them out. Like so. Let's make some more. I queued up 10. The next thing we want to do is military, which is going to require 10. Perfect. Oh, and logistics just finished, so we're going to select military next. Logistics allows us some belt-related things, and we can see that by going down here where it's green. Effects, we can do underground belts and splitters, and both of those are tremendously important. So let's queue up military, and once our science packs are built, rather than dropping them off here, we can just put them in the chest, and there go our inserters, and get started. And they will take more than one. They will put a bunch in so that there's some queued up. I think they will hold 2 at a time, I believe. While that's happening, let's go do another round of running around and picking things up. Nope, too far away. Gotta be closer than that. How are we doing on coal? Anywhere? This could use more coal. This can use more coal. That's fine. Bar. It's fine. We have lots of coal now, so we can be generous and fill these up completely to the 50 that they can hold. Let's go back over here. We finished building our science packs. We can pick up some more coal because we should make sure that our boilers are not running low. We can drop the rest of the science packs in here, and now you can see it'll put 1 set, 2 sets, and then it'll wait. And once one is used up, it'll do the other one. Now we still have plenty of coal, so we can do that. Control left click drag across them. It'll fill them to 50. Very nice. But I'm tired of building these science packs. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put down a couple of assembly machines. So this assembly machine here is going to build science packs. So if we click on it, we have to select what we wanted to produce, and what we want is science packs. Now, the important thing with assembly machines is the ingredients it needs is copper plates and iron gear wheel. If we were handcrafting a science pack and we didn't have any iron gear wheels, we would just make some. That doesn't happen in assemblers. Assemblers can only make one thing at a time. So in order for this assembler to work, it has to be given a gear wheel. Well, that's okay. We can place a second assembler. Put it right here. And this assembler can make gear wheels. Now, in order to make gear wheels, we need iron. In order to make this, we need copper. And we can provide both with a single chest, which we have to make. So if I place a chest right here, I can put a bunch of iron and a bunch of copper in it. I can take a couple of assemblers and put them there, and one here. And these assemblers will only take the necessary ingredients. Since this machine doesn't want copper, this assembler will never give it copper. Since this machine doesn't want iron, it'll never give it iron. And of course we need one more right here. We can go from machine to machine, just like from a chest to a machine or a machine to a chest, and that'll put in our copper wheels. Now we just need to power all this. So we haven't really used the toolbar before. You can set it up any which way you want. I have a pattern that I use, and I like to have the small electric poles right here on my toolbar, in the 4th slot, which means I can press the number 4 on my keyboard and get that up. So I'm going to place one power pole right here, and one power pole right here, instead of that one, and that will power everything we need. And you can see that this is producing iron gears. This is producing science packs slowly, and then it's putting them in here and spreading them to the side. Military is finished. Press T. We can queue up our next item, and I think the next item we're going to queue up is going to be optics. That'll let us make some lights and make our life a lot nicer. So, the last thing I'd like to do in this episode is take advantage of the science that we just developed, and that is military technology. We're going to go over to the combat screen, and we're going to make a submachine gun. Now, we actually have 3 weapon choices now. We have a pistol. We've already got one of those. I don't want another one. We have submachine guns or shotguns. Submachine guns takes the same ammo as pistols. Shotguns take shells. Which one you use is kind of personal preference. I've always been a fan of the submachine gun. So I'm going to make the submachine gun. I'm going to make some light armor. I am going to... well, let's make some more magazines. And we can use some radars, actually. Let's make some radars. The other thing I'd like to make is one more wooden chest. While all of that is being crafted, we will go do another round of picking things up, as we usually do. Nope, I just took all the coal out of that by accident. I'm just going to fill everything completely full of coal. And you can see the magazines automatically got placed in the magazine pouch, and the armor automatically got placed on our body. The only thing, and the submachine gun got automatically placed in the 2nd slot. Well, I don't want that because I really don't want to use the pistol at all. So I'm going to take the pistol out and move the submachine gun into there. Now, in addition to all that, we built a box. And the reason we built that box is this is not a tradition that I created, but it's a tradition that a lot of people playing this game play, is we create something called the box of shame. I'm going to place it right here, and I'm going to put my pistol into it. And the reason is, if you die in this game, you respawn, and you respawn exactly the same way as we started, with a pistol and 10 rounds of ammo. So every time you die, you get a new pistol. Since I don't plan to ever make a pistol, I can just put my pistols into this chest, and that way I can immediately tell how many times I've died. It's the box of shame. Now, in some of my early games, I've lost the box of shame. I couldn't find where I put it. So my pattern now is to put it right near my first steam engine array. That way I can kind of find it. And we're done with optics, so the next thing, let's see what we have. We have turrets, which are very nice, but we don't quite need them. Stone walls are also good. Those are both excellent defenses. Electronics is very important. It doesn't give us anything by itself, but it unlocks a whole lot of other technology. Steel processing lets us make steel. That's very important. This is the Logistics Science Pack tech. It unlocks the next science pack, the green ones, the logistics. And then these two improve weapon shooting speed and projectile damage. I think the first thing we're going to do is make steel, because steel is awfully important. And I believe that is where we're going to stop for the day. We've accomplished quite a bit. We've got electricity up, we've got science up, and we've got our first automatically made items up. That's pretty much the conclusion of our first phase, the running around and doing everything by hand phase, and the start of what I tend to think of as the second phase of automation, which is second phase of Factorio, which is where we set up automation of a lot of things that we're going to need, well, a lot of. And we will do that next time. I am Dorthak, and why don't you go ahead and try one of these? And don't forget to save.